Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, my loves? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to a special edition of the Astro Room here on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, so tonight we are discussing the upcoming new moon in Capricorn, which is going down tomorrow, January 11th. All right, so typically I usually do a scripted video for this that I just upload before the new moon, but I've got a lot going on right now, and it's so much easier to just go live. So I'm like, let me just go live and not leave y'all hanging when it comes to this new moon, because this is a new moon you definitely don't want to miss out on. All right. So before I get into all of the details and everything that this new moon has to offer, of course, we're going to do a little housekeeping and some announcements. So if you are joining me here live on this broadcast, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Feel free to say hi on your way in and hit that like button as well. It's important that you guys hit that like button, not just for vanity metrics, but it lets the algorithm know that you like this kind of content. So it will disseminate this to more people who like this content. And trust and believe, I do all of this for education purposes, for enlightenment purposes. So as many people that can hear these messages, the better. So definitely hit that like button, please, and thank you. And if you are joining me on the replay, I sincerely appreciate you just as much. Hopefully you get what you came for with this live. Hopefully you get confirmation, illumination, clarity, enlightenment, or whatever it is that you're looking for. And if that is the case, then please hit that like button as well. And if you haven't already, subscribe and set that notification bell. All right, let's see who we have in here tonight. Okay, we've got a couple of people. Sorry, I can't see that well. So if you see me doing that, that's why. We've got Boyd. Okay, greetings from Los Angeles. Hello, hello. We've got Patricia Jean. Hello, my sister. We've got Ramel, as always. Oh, and we've got Karen. Hello, Karen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to be bringing this information to you tonight because this is, like I said, it's a new moon that you definitely do not want to miss out on. All right. So let's get these last couple of things out of the way. If you are someone that is interested in your horoscope, and you're just interested in your horoscope, consider signing up for my text service where you will be texted your weekly horoscope every Monday. People really seem to like it. Short, sweet, to the point. If you're interested, you're going to want to text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544, right? And that information will be in the description box below. And as always, if you are someone who is brand spanking new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, or you're someone who's kind of dipped your toe in the astrology pool, but you're like, wow, this is a lot, I'm kind of overwhelmed, don't worry, I got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics cheat sheet, which is essentially a study guide for you to help you start studying and learning astrology, right? And it gives you the quick and dirty on the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the signs, and the aspects. So it's an 11-page PDF document that gives you the quick and dirty on all these things so that you can start committing them to memory and start studying, because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is a science. It's a science mixed with other things, but it's definitely a science. And like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. Link is in the description box below. All you got to do is drop your email and you are good to go. All right. So, oh, I love how all of these just came to life at the same time. Wow. And I thought Mercury retrograde was over. Okay. We're just going to chill out with these on the screen for a second while I see who else is up in here. Okay. We got quite a few people up in the chat tonight. I love it. So we have Marquita Gonzalez. Hello. Astrologics. Hello, hello, friend. Rob Blackstorm. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. He's definitely one of my favorites. One of my favorites. All right. This thing will not. Yeah. We have technical difficulties sometimes. So that's just how we roll around here. But in any event, like I said, this is going to be the new moon you don't want to sit out on. Not just because it's a new moon and it's all about setting new intentions and planting new seeds. That's astrology 101. That goes for any new moon. I say that it's a new moon you don't want to sit out on because this is a really sort of pivotal time that we're in right now. It's like we are in between two different cycles. We have a karmic cycle that is wrapping up and this brand new transformative cycle that's about to begin. And it's like where the two meet is kind of it's kind of flowing like this, right? And so it's like simultaneously, this is going to be a new moon where you're like sort of getting rid of the old and preparing for the new. Now, the old cycle is a cycle that's been going on for a long time. I said a karmic cycle for a reason because we've got Saturn, the planet of karma, in the sign of Pisces. So Pisces being the last sign, there's a whole bunch of karmic cycles that are wrapping up. And these are karmic cycles, like I said, that have been around for a minute, right? So we've got that going on. And then we've got this new moon in Capricorn, which is allowing us to plant seeds for long-term success and long-term goals. So we are wrapping up a long-held cycle, and we're about to begin a new transformative long-term cycle, right? So this is, like I said, the new moon that you definitely don't want to sleep on, all right? Unless you're an Aquarius rising. If you're an Aquarius rising, that means that this new moon is going down in your 12th house. So you may want to sleep on it, literally. However, you want to use that dream state. You want to use your visualization. You want to program your subconscious and plant seeds in there. But other than that, no one has an excuse to be sitting out this new moon. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the details. All right. So we start off with the basics. And the basics is basically Capricorn energy plus new moon energy. So like I said before, new moon energy, new moon, new intentions, new seeds. The slate has been wiped completely clean. The lunar cycle is starting again, and so can we. And let me tell you something. Capricorn energy is not necessarily sexy. It's not like Aries that's bold and dynamic and that's getting you to take a risk and start something new. It's not even like Leo that's like attention seeking and warm and loving and generous. Capricorn energy typically gets the reputation of being boring, right? Because it has to do with hard work and diligence. Frustrating because it also has to do with obstacles, setbacks, and challenges. And even more frustrating because it has to do with time and patience, right? So this is the new moon where you're planting seeds. These seeds may be big, and they should be, and I'll explain why a little later on. But these are seeds that you're going to have to nurture over some time. These are goals. These are aspirations that may take a while to reach, right? That may require you to be structured, to be disciplined, to be diligent, and to be patient, right? But planting these seeds now is super important because when we get into the thick of this new transformative cycle, you don't want to be sitting there with your hands out with nothing to show for it, right? So now is the time that we plant those seeds. So Capricorn energy is very much also associated with success and ambition. The symbolism for Capricorn is the mountain goat, or one of the symbols for Capricorn is mountain goat. And the mountain goat will traverse dangerous terrain, will climb the highest mountain to reach the top. And that's sort of how we feel and what our outlook is like when we have this new moon energy in Capricorn. So this is about setting your sights high. And if you watched my weekly astro forecast this past Monday, I discussed this new moon a little bit, and I talked about how this isn't the new moon to sort of be planting frivolous seeds or seeds that are small or seeds that, really aren't a challenge for you. Inherent in the energy of Capricorn is the concept of challenge. And so this new moon is about planting seeds of goals and of, things that you want to accomplish, like intentions that may be very challenging, goals that you're like, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish this. I don't know if I can accomplish this, or this is going to take a really long time, right? Those are the kind of seeds you're going to want to plant at this new moon. Now, also inherent in the energy signature of Capricorn is the concept of authority. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn has a lot to do with authority figures. And when I say authority figures, usually in traditional astrology, they sort of mention it as being like old men. Okay. It's men who are older in a more mentor kind of a role, right? But they represent authority, like your boss, your manager, your supervisor, right? Your father or father figure. And like I said before, we're at a pivotal point in time where we've got an old karmic cycle that's winding up and a new transformative cycle that's beginning. And in closing out this karmic cycle, this new moon is really getting us to think about where we've been placing our authority. Who have we been placing our authority with or in? Whose authority have we been relying on to live our lives, right? And this new moon gives you the opportunity to really change that. Like, for instance, if you're someone who's been relying on, let's say, a father figure, or maybe your reliance has been on the government or any sort of large company institution, right? This is going to be the new moon where you can plant seeds of self-autonomy, where you're no longer reliant on some force outside of yourself in order to live, and not even only to live, but to live your best life and to thrive. Like, this is really, when I say this is an important new moon, I'm really not kidding. All right. But also, inherent in Capricorn energy is this energy of karma, like I said before. And so we're wrapping up this karmic cycle. And this may be a time when a new karmic cycle begins. And I don't want you to necessarily equate karmic or karma to bad or negative, right? Especially if you're someone who's into twin flames. When you hear about a karmic relationship, it's like, oh my gosh, that's not my twin flame. A karmic relationship is less than what I want or less than deserve. That's not what I mean when I say karmic. Karmic just means learning lessons, and everything having to do with Saturn has to do with learning lessons. And so this may be a time where you're planting seeds, right, with the intention to reach a certain goal, but perhaps the desire for that intention, the desire for that goal is really your higher self wanting to teach you something, wanting to build your character. You don't want what you want for no reason. Our desires are typically from God, from a higher self, whatever you believe in. And inherent in those goals, inherent in those intentions are the lessons that we need to learn to achieve those goals and to manifest those intentions and to build the character that can sustain those intentions and those goals. All right. So keep that in mind when you are reflecting on what it is that you're trying to manifest at this new moon. Now, of course, you're going to want to look at your natal chart and see where Capricorn is. That will give you the clue as to what area of life this new moon is happening for you. And so that'll tell you what would be best to manifest right now. For instance, if you were a Sagittarius rising, that would make Capricorn your second house of money, material possessions. Since Capricorn has everything to do with long-term goals, this may be the time when you start a savings plan, an IRA, where you start saving for a big ticket item like a house or a car, or where you just set a plan in motion to acquire assets over the long term, right? That's just an example, but that's how you should be looking at this new moon in Capricorn energy. All right. So now that we've gotten to the basics, let's talk numerology and see what that has to say about this new moon in Capricorn. All right. So when it comes to numerology, this new moon in Capricorn is sponsored by the number 2 because this new moon in Capricorn is going down at the 20th degree of Capricorn. One thing I forgot to mention before, especially if you're new to astrology, a new moon is when the sun and the moon are conjunct, meaning that they occupy the same space in the sky. So both the sun and the moon will be at 20 degrees of Capricorn tomorrow. Okay. And so the number 20 reduces to the number 2. And in numerology, the number 2 has sort of a bifurcated meaning, right? There's sort of two ways that you could look at the number 2. First is partnership, right? Because two people, partnership. So it may be the case that this particular new moon has an undercurrent of teamwork or partnership to it. So one of my favorite phrases is you can go faster alone, but you can go farther together. So as we're planting these new seeds that may be challenging, that may be really big, right? That may require a lot of work and that may be for the long term, we may come to realize that perhaps there are people that can assist us with this. Maybe there are people that we can bring on our team, or maybe there's a partner or there's someone that we can partner up with who can help us reach this goal, right? Now, one of the things that I like to look at in terms of the numerology of new and full moons are called Sabian symbols. And essentially, these symbols give an archetypal story for each degree of the zodiac. So when it comes to the numerology of this new moon in Capricorn and the Sabian symbol associated with 20 degrees of Capricorn, the Sabian symbol is a relay race, right? So think of a relay race. Typically, you have 4 people on a team. There's a baton. The first runner starts out with the baton, then passes to the second, to the third, to the fourth. The whole point is to get to the finish line first as a team, right? And so this may be something that you want to think about with the goals that you are setting. Who can you pass the baton on to, right? Now, what just came in my mind was this concept of like lineage, okay? Now, Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, has everything to do with the long term. This would be the new moon where you're planting seeds of generational wealth, where you start the race with your baton, and then as time goes by, you pass it on and you pass it down to your lineage, to family members, right? That sort of speaks to the new transformative cycle that is beginning. Now, with this karmic cycle that's ending, perhaps maybe it's time to drop the baton that you've been handed from previous ancestry that no longer serves you, right? Maybe that's an easier way to think about the energy of this new moon, because sometimes we, proverbially speaking, generational trauma, all of that stuff, emotional baggage, our DNA has, the trauma of our ancestors, right? Think of it as like running a relay race that you didn't sign up for, right? So maybe it's time to drop the baton and say, listen, I'm not running this race anymore. Maybe it's time to start a new race with a new baton, with new values, with new structure, with new authority that I can pass on to the coming generations, and that will generate generational wealth for us, right? So that's an interesting way of looking at this numerology for this new moon, right? The other way that you can think about the number 2, right? Because I said it has like a bifurcated meaning. The other way is choice. When you're presented with 2 things, a lot of times we have to make a choice. Which one are we going to choose? And I want you to remember this when you are, meditating on what it is that you want to manifest. What choices are you making? Now, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn has a lot to do with challenges and obstacles. It's like, there's 2 things that I want to say. Number 1, are you going to choose the easy way, right? Are you going to choose the more difficult way? The difficult way may be longer, but it actually may be more valuable. The other thing I want to say is, are you going to, oh wow, I just lost that train of thought. It just like flew out of my head so quickly. Oh no, what was I going to say? Oh, choices. Sacrifice. Saturn energy has a lot to do with sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for this goal, right? Again, if you know me, if you watch any of my videos, I talk ad nauseum about weight loss, right? That goal of losing 100 pounds, you're probably like, damn, not only is this going to take a long time, but it's going to be difficult, right? What are you willing to give up? Clearly, you're going to have to give up drinking every day, right? You're going to have to give up, an unhealthy diet. You're going to have to give up your time. You're going to have to sacrifice your time to go to the gym. The time that you're going to the gym is time you could be in bed sleeping, right? It's inherent in choice at times is sacrifice. So when you're getting ready to set those intentions, and I definitely encourage you to journal before setting those intentions. So before doing whatever ritual you're going to do for this new moon, take some time, even if it's just 20 minutes, light a candle, get in a quiet spot, and just journal a lot of what I'm talking about this evening, right? What are you willing to give up for this? What are you going to have to give up, number one? And number two, are you willing to sacrifice these things in order to reach that goal? Again, inherent in the energy of the number two is choice. Okay. Now, some other interesting, facts you can call it when it comes to the numerology of the number two. It also has a lot to do with intuition because the second card in the tarot is the High Priestess. So this isn't just relying on your logic, even though the energy signature of Capricorn has a lot to do with logical, practical thinking. Take your intuition with you. Right? When you're not only when you're setting these goals, but when you're implementing and doing the work to achieve them, it's not just about thinking about it from your logical mind. It's really about using your intuition and allowing your intuition to guide you. If we learned anything from 2023, and with 2023 being a universal 7-year, it's intellect plus intuition equals power. So use that lesson when it comes to setting and working towards these goals that you are going to set at this new moon. All right. So now that we talked about the numerology, let's talk astrology. All right. So the astrology for this particular new moon is interesting when it comes to what is going on in the cosmos tomorrow. And I say interesting because it really bodes well with what I was saying before. We are at a point where we are ending certain karmic cycles and we are beginning a new transformative cycle. All right. So let's take a look at the chart and see exactly what this new moon is looking like. All right. So at the left-hand side of the chart, you will see the sun and the moon are at 20 degrees of Capricorn. All right. So that is the essence of the new moon. Now, in terms of the astrology, the new moon is actually going to be square to the north node and the south node. So at the top of the chart, that upside down horseshoe, that's the south node, which is at 20 degrees of Libra. And then directly across from that at the bottom right-hand portion, you will see an upside, a correct side, upside, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Horseshoe at 20 degrees of Aries, right? And not only that, the new moon is going to be trine to Uranus, which is going to be at 19 degrees of Uranus. Right. And Uranus is in Taurus. So we've got the new moon is square to the north node, it's square to the south node, and it's trine to Uranus. All right. So let's break that down and figure out exactly what that means. So the north and the south node has everything to do with dharma and karma. It has to do with where you've been versus where you're going. Either way, the north and the south node has everything to do. They have everything to do with destiny. The north node represents your North Star. It's where you're headed. The south node represents where you're comfortable and pretty much where you've come from. South node is karma. North node is dharma. Okay. And so again, you can see astrologically, and I'm going to put the chart up again. You see these two opposites, right? We are literally at an impasse where we are letting go of the old and embracing the new. All right. And again, it's very much a destined or a karmic cycle. So you really want to take heed to think about not only what it is that you want to, what seeds you want to plant at this new moon, but also why do you want to plant those seeds? Perhaps the desires that you are tapping into when it comes to your intentions, maybe they're not necessarily your desires. Now, our truest desires, like I mentioned before, they come from your higher self. They come from God. They come from the universe. But because we've been so programmed, we've been so indoctrinated to want certain things that may be contrary to what we really want for ourselves, you want to be careful that you're planting seeds of your truest desires. And this goes back to the concept of authority that I was talking about earlier as it pertains to Capricorn. Who is in authority when it comes to your desires? Is it society? Is it your family? Is it your parents? Is it your spouse? Is it your partner? Or is it you, right? Like, these are the questions you're going to want to ask yourself when you're thinking about what it is that you want to manifest, right? Perhaps, again, you're a Sag rising. Capricorn is your second house of money. And you're like, okay, I want to be a millionaire. I'm willing to sacrifice everything. Does your soul really want that? I mean, it sounds good, right? Of course. Who you think to yourself, who wouldn't want to be a millionaire? But all you have to do is scroll on Instagram to see all of these people touting these, I made $1 million in a month. I did this, I did that. Maybe you're doing it for vanity reasons. Maybe you're doing it because you feel like you need to keep up with everybody else, but you don't necessarily want to be a millionaire. Maybe you want to be comfortable, but maybe not a millionaire. So that's sort of an example of what I'm talking about. Be mindful of whose authority is at play when you are planting these seeds, all right? Now, the new moon is also going to be trine to Uranus. And so expect the unexpected in a good way, right? Trines are harmonious, effortless energy. Things just sort of fit together without much work on your part. But here's the thing, Uranus, I like to call Uranus the hand of God. It can be very chaotic sometimes. Think of like a thunderbolt, right? Like, it's sudden, it's startling, comes out of nowhere, right? Literally like the hand of God. And so expect good surprises. Be joyfully optimistic and roll with the punches regardless of what happens, okay? This could be, now because Capricorn has a lot to do with success and achievement, right? This may be a time when you have surprise recognition. Something successfully comes together, something successfully works out, right? Sudden changes that are positive and tangible, right? And it's from this space that you will want to plant those seeds, right? Nothing is better than being and feeling confident and optimistic and accomplished and then planting a seed with that energy. So be open to whatever changes occur. Now, for some, it may be a blessing in disguise. So you're going to have to keep your eyes out for that. However, allow the universe to do its thing. The universe is only trying to help you have the best life possible, especially once you let the universe know what your intentions are or what your intention is. Okay. Now, also in terms of the astrology, Saturn is in Pisces, like I mentioned before. This is important because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn in Pisces is about making dreams reality by doing the work to make it happen. So when it comes to any intentions and goals that you are setting at this new moon in Capricorn, think big. The sky is not even the limit when it comes to what you can have, be, or do. All right. But just understand, the bigger the dream, perhaps the harder the work, perhaps more challenges, perhaps the longer it'll take. And I'm not trying to put that on you, but we're talking about Capricorn here. Capricorn will have you work to the bone, but then that work, the reward that comes from that work will be astronomical. So again, think big when it comes to these intentions and these goals, but again, be willing to put in the work. Another important piece of astrology for this new moon in Capricorn is that Mars is currently in Capricorn. Now, it's not touching the new moon. It's not necessarily near the sun or the moon. But the fact that Mars is in Capricorn, it's giving you some motivation. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas ready to go. You have the motivation, you have the drive, you're very desirous of something. Now, also keep in mind that Mars is single-minded. So when it comes to whatever seeds you're planting at this new moon, you may want to pick just one or two. This isn't the time to be like, I want to be a millionaire and I want to have a house and I want to have, a marriage. And no, this is one of those new moons. You kind of just want to pick one thing so that you can really focus on it, put all of your energy and effort into it, at least for right now, right? Again, this is a long-term game we're playing. So you plant the seed now, you're going to have to keep working at this over months or maybe even years. So get ready. But Mars in Capricorn is going to get you amped. It's going to have you feeling like, yes, I can do this, or I really want this, or being very desirous, maybe being a little impulsive also. And also being willing to take a risk. It's not necessarily, not saying be reckless, right? It's more so about taking a calculated risk, sort of stepping outside of your comfort zone, being bold and dynamic in whatever intention you're trying to set at this new moon is really going to be beneficial for you. All right. So now that we've talked about the astrology, let's talk a little manifestation and see how we can take advantage of this new moon in Capricorn energy. All right, so let's talk manifestation. So again, new moons, new intentions, new seeds. Now, the first thing I'll say about this new moon, and I've said it before, is that you want to focus on the long term. This isn't the moon to be planting frivolous seeds or things that you know that you can achieve in the immediate future. It's like you kind of want to challenge yourself to plant seeds that are challenging. Something that you feel like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Or damn, this is going to take a long time. Or wow, this is a really big goal. I don't know how I'm going to achieve this. Those are the kind of seeds that you want to plant. And again, you're going to want to see where Capricorn is in your natal chart so you know what kind of seeds to plant. But speaking of plants, planting seeds is literally how you are going to manifest at this new moon in Capricorn. And you can do it in one of two ways or in both ways. I would suggest both ways. You're going to want to plant physical seeds and you're going to want to plant subconscious seeds. So first, physical. Capricorn is an earth sign, right? So this is the time to literally plant a seed. Like get a seed, get a pot, get some soil. Now, it could be the seed of your choice, right? Whatever plant, whatever you want to see bloom in the future, this is the seed that you're going to want to take or choose, right? And then you're going to want to imbue that seed with your energy. So you're going to want to put it in your hand. You're going to want to roll your hand over it, allow your energy to permeate the seed, and you're going to want to talk to it. You're going to want to say your intentions into that seed, okay? And then you're literally going to plant it in soil. And then the process of work begins. Over the next couple of months, you're going to water it regularly. You're going to prune it when it needs pruning. You're going to give it the right amount of sunlight. Each time you take care of this plant, you are going to reaffirm the intention that you set for it. So let's say I'm not someone with a green thumb, so I don't know what the watering schedule is for anything. However, let's say you have a plant that has a watering schedule of every 3 days. So every 3 days, you're watering this plant. You wake up in the morning, you go to your plants, and as you're watering, you reaffirm your intention as if you already have it. And you have to be diligent with this. You have to keep working at it. Number one, because this is how you're going to reinforce that intention, number one. And number two, you don't want the plant to die, right? So you're going to have to take care of it. This is a long-term commitment. Everything about Capricorn is about longevity and commitment. So when you plant a physical seed, you are committed to helping it grow. And when you imbue that seed with your intention, you're doing the same thing. All right, that's number one. Number two, you're going to want to plant a subconscious seed, especially because Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is in Pisces. You do this in a variety of ways. You can do affirmations. One of my favorite things to do is affirmations in the mirror. You can do subconscious affirmations that you listen to while you are asleep. You can script whatever you need to do on a regular and systemic basis to change the programming within you. You're going to start doing that at this new moon in Capricorn. You're planting a subconscious seed and you are planting a physical seed. Doing these two things is really what is going to help you manifest beginning at this new moon in Capricorn. And then the other thing I would suggest, because Mars is in Capricorn, you're going to want to do something related to fire. So this could be candle magic. This could be burning a bay leaf, right? You're going to put your intention on a bay leaf and then burn it. Or you're going to do some sort of candle magic. So whether it's for money, whether it's for self-love, we're not about doing love spells on other people, okay? At least I'm not. I'd like to do self-love spells, and then I can attract the love to me, right? Or maybe you want to do a road opener candle to open up the roads of opportunity for you. Again, you're going to want to look at where Capricorn is in your chart and get the appropriate candle, right? The appropriate candle color that has to do with that topic. Write your intentions. You want to clear and cleanse the candle first. Perhaps you want to write your intentions on the glass of the candle, light it up, and then every day you're going to reaffirm what your intention is. The one thing I've learned about candle magic is that it's not just set it and forget it. You don't just light a candle and leave it there to burn out. You have to engage with it every day. You have to reaffirm your intention and your goals with it every day, right? Preferably you want to get a 7-day candle to do this, and you're good to go. I feel like doing all three of these things actually will be a wonderful ritual to begin and to do not only at the new moon, but to begin to do, right? I mean, the candle magic you're only going to do at the new moon, but if you're planting seeds physically and subconsciously, this is going to be an ongoing commitment. So be ready for that and be willing to make the appropriate sacrifices to do this kind of work, all right? So that's everything we need to know about manifestation with this new moon in Capricorn. So now, let's get some messages from Spirit and see what Spirit has to say for us for this new moon in Capricorn. All right, so I'm going to pull some cards so that we get some messages from Spirit, all right? So this is going to be a little different than what I usually do with my weekly astro forecast. I'm going to do one message that's general, and then I'm going to do another message for career and or business, because Capricorn has this energy signature of business, career, and seriousness. I feel like Spirit has something to say to us about those topics. All right. So the first message is going to be general sort of spiritual guidance. And then the second is going to be career. So let us begin. And I'm not doing this by sign. This is just going to be a general message for the collective. All right. So first, let's pick an oracle card and see what Spirit has for us for this new moon in Capricorn. In true Capricorn fashion, Spirit is making me wait, right? Oh, okay. I don't know if you could see that very well, but it says karma. This is the sign of Libra, where the south node currently is. Remember, I said in the astrology portion, the new moon is going to be square to the south node and the north node. This is letting me know that with this new moon, it's about new beginnings, but it's also simultaneously about endings, and it's about ending of karmic cycles. So this is letting me know that it's like you have to be mindful of from where you are manifesting. I will give you a perfect example and a rather personal one for me. There was something that I really, really wanted, and I spent 2 years working on this manifestation, doing affirmations, listening to subliminals, all the things, only to not get the thing in a very dramatic sort of way. And I was devastated. And I was like, Spirit, how is it that I did all the things, I worked, I affirmed, I felt as if I already had it and I don't have it? And Spirit said, because you wanted something that is not in alignment with where you are going. It's your old self that wanted this thing. It's your old self, the broken self, the insecure self that wanted this. And that's not who you are. And it's damn sure not who you're becoming. So it's not in alignment with you, right? So we have to be mindful of what is in alignment for us. It's not like we can't have what we want. But once you get to a certain point on this journey, Spirit is not going to let you have bullshit. I'm going to be 100% with you. Spirit is not going to let you have bullshit. You can no longer entertain what is not for you. And that's sort of what this card is saying. Like, it's time to end karmic relationships. Now, remember I said in the numerology portion, the number 2 is the number for this new moon. 2 having to do with partnerships. Maybe this new moon is having you also examine your partnerships, who you are associated with, who you are attached to. And is that a karmic relationship that maybe it's time to let go of? But either way, we're ending a karmic cycle, whether we like it or not. And Spirit is like, you need to decide, are you going to try to hold on to the old? Or are you going to venture into this transformative new cycle? All right. So now I'm going to pick 3 tarot cards to expand on this message. So let's get 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. First card out is the Wheel of Fortune. So the tables are turning. Inherent in this card of karma, if you can see it, it's holographic. It's really pretty, but it doesn't show up well on camera. There we go. Is the scales, right? Balancing out. What goes around comes around. What was up is now going to come down. Like, that's exactly what's happening now. That's exactly where we are. And it's sort of like that's the backdrop of everything that's going on as we are creating this new transformative cycle. Okay. So things are changing. And I think that I was prompted to tell you my personal story because you may be trying to manifest something that it's like the chips were down and that's the energy that you were in. And now you're still trying to manifest from this place. And Spirit is like, no, but the tides are turning. The tables are turning. The scales are moving in the opposite direction. And you kind of have to keep that in mind when you are planting these seeds and setting these intentions, right? It's about alignment. And maybe it's not so much about alignment from who you used to be or what you used to want. It's more so about alignment to who you are becoming, okay? Then the next card we have is the Page of Swords. There's a certain amount of observation that you're going to need to have. And this sort of speaks to patience, right? I told you Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, has to do with patience. In that patience, you're going to want to observe things. Your reality is literally telling you where you are at. If you're operating from a karmic cycle, especially a karmic cycle that's about to end, it's like you need to see that with your own eyes. You need to be able to realize that, to observe that. It's like Spirit wants you to be in the right frame of mind when manifesting. Again, this isn't the time to be planting seeds that are frivolous or to not be intentional, like really intentional about what it is that you're trying to manifest, okay? So you have to be an observer. Look around, assess the situation. Like I said before, tonight especially, this may be a night where you want to journal and you want to, especially if you're someone who can pull cards for themselves, you may want to pull some cards for yourself and figure out what's going on with you before you plant these seeds. This is not that because we are planting seeds of longevity, you don't want to plant the wrong ones, or maybe not even the wrong ones. You don't want to plant seeds that will yield fruit that doesn't taste good or results that are just half-assed, or you want to plant the right seeds. So this is the time to be intentional and to observe before planting, okay? Also, this just came to me. You know that parable in the Bible of the seeds being planted in different environments, right? Take stock of your environment. Where are you planting these seeds? Literally, I just told you to plant physical seeds, right? If you have an apartment, it's like you have to find the right spot to put this plant in so that it gets the adequate amount of sunlight, right? Where are you planting these seeds? Are you planting these seeds in an environment where it won't thrive? You have to be intentional about what you're planting at this new moon. And then finally, I love this. We have the Empress. This is all about abundance. This is about material abundance as well. So this lets me know that abundance is here for you, especially coupled with this Wheel of Fortune card. If you've been in a cycle or a karmic cycle of lack, of less than, of your money being funny. I feel like this is the new moon where you can literally turn that around and end that karmic cycle for good. You just have to be aware of it and be willing to sacrifice to turn the tables, okay? But it's looking really good, I must say. Right? All right. So now that we've got that message, now let's get 3 cards from my career deck. And this is called the Golden Career Oracle. And see what Spirit has to say to us with respect to career or business. All right. The first card we have is strategy. And it says you need a step-by-step plan of attack to reach the next level. Get the advice of someone who is already where you want to go. This is so in line with Capricorn, right? I just talked about observing your environment, right? This is all about putting a strategy in place. Capricorn is all about planning. You can't try to drive from New York to LA without putting the GPS on, without trying to figure out which route you're going to take. You can't just get behind the wheel and be like, okay, let's go to LA, not knowing how to get there. You need a plan. You need a plan of attack. You need a strategy. That's exactly what this is saying. But I also love that it says, get the advice of someone who is already where you want to go. Capricorn energy has everything to do with authority, but also like mentor-mentee. Again, this goes to the number 2 with partnership or teamwork or the relay race I was talking about. Who can you get on your team who can help get you to the finish line? When you're putting a relay team together, you get the fastest people. You get the people that you know will cross the finish line. You get the people that are skilled in whatever distance that relay race requires. You don't get someone who's slow. You don't get the advice of someone who's never crossed the finish line or never even ran track for that matter, right? Strategize. Be strategic in the implementation of whatever it is that you're manifesting at this new moon, okay? Let's get 2 more cards. One. Of course, Saturn is going to make this difficult. All right. Second card we have is courage. And it says, ask what you are afraid of so you can overcome what's holding you back now. There are leadership opportunities for the taking. All right, this speaks to 2 things. Number 1, be courageous enough to set a long-term goal. A goal that's challenging, that you have no idea how it's going to come to fruition. Have the courage to do that. And then number 2, a leadership role. Wasn't I talking about authority? Maybe it's time for you to step up and be an authority. Maybe it's time to step out and start your own business. Maybe it's time to be a leader in your industry. Maybe it's time for people to hear your voice, for you to roar, for you to have attention and be seen. Clearly, this is the picture of a lion, very much emblematic of Leo energy, right? Main character energy. Maybe it is time for you to stand up and be a main character, but you have to have the courage to do so. And Mars is actually going to give it to you because Mars is currently in Capricorn. So Mars is making you feel yourself, and Mars is giving you that boost of energy, that boost of confidence even, to ask for what you want, intend and be sincere in the intention, right? And to stand up and be the leader that you know you were born to be. And then finally, oh my gosh, I like this a lot. You see them gold bars? Wealth. You are working toward real wealth and prosperity in your life. Keep investing in yourself and look into long-term career planning. I cannot make this up. Coupled with the Empress, didn't I say before that abundance is here for you? This is confirmation. This is the new moon that you plant seeds of wealth. No bullshit. Seriously. But you have to be serious about it. You have to be committed to it. On those days when you want to just spend your money on bullshit, those days when you don't want to put in the work. Remember this live. Remember this card. I'm going to leave this up so y'all can see this. Take a screenshot of this. Do whatever you need to do to laser this into your memory. This is the year of wealth. We are in a universal 8 year, which is all about abundance, but it's abundance because of hard work. Remember that that this is assured. This is what's at the finish line. This is what is at the end of the road if you're willing to traverse it. If you're willing to go through the obstacle course, if you're willing to sacrifice your time, if you're willing to invest in yourself, this is what you will have. Point blank, period. All right. And I feel like that is the perfect place to end this live. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this new moon in Capricorn. Manifest the shit out of some shit. All right. I want you to really plant those seeds so that next year around this time we can say, remember that new moon in Capricorn last year? Oh my gosh, like I have so much money now, or my business is thriving, or I've done this, I've done that, I've achieved this. This is the moon to plant those seeds. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing, amazing new moon, and I will see you in my next video. All right, take care.